Good afternoon. For those of you who don't know, my name is Maya Karen. I run a fashion blog called Classically Kept. It does feature luxury, contemporary, and how to style, and now natural hair care. So if you are into any of those things, please consider subscribing to my channel and clicking the notification bell. That way you will never miss a video. So today's video is a requested video. We are going to go over some tips and do's and don'ts for protective styling. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so really quickly, let's just go over what protective styling is, or the definition. So protective styling is anything that keeps your ends tucked away and minimizes manipulation. Okay, so I do have some do's. We will start with the do's, then we will go into don'ts, and then I have 2 tips for you. Okay, so number 1, and first let's go ahead and get some examples of protective styling. You have braids, you have crochet, you have marley, you have Havana twist, you have mini twist, you have weave, you have updos, you have fro hawks, anything that is going to keep your ends tucked away and something that you don't necessarily have to touch every single day. Okay, so the very first do, if you do not take anything else away from this video, okay? Because to me, this is why protective styling gets a bad rep, or people say that it's not actually protective styling, okay? If you do not take anything else away from this video, you can click off after this and you should be fine. If you do not take anything else away from this video, I need you to maintain your hair under the weave or within the protective style. And what I mean by that is you cannot have your hair sitting for weeks on end or months on end and not touch your hair, okay? Even when your hair is in twist, when you have extensions, even when your hair is in marley twist, Havana twist, or just regular mini twist, it's still exposed, not so much, but it's still exposed to the environment and its elements, okay? You have to maintain your hair. Just because you have a weave in or just because you have a protective style in does not mean that you can just leave your hair alone, okay? You still have to treat, and I would even go as far as to say, with the extensions, treat your hair like it is still, treat the extensions like it's your hair. If you normally grease your scalp or put something on your scalp 2 to 3 times a week, I would still do that even if you have the protective style in. What I will say to you about that is that just make sure that whatever it is you're using is not typically as heavy if you were only going to be using your regular hair, or if you were going to be styling your hair as regular. You still have to maintain your hair. If you do not maintain your hair, that's when the breakage and the damage comes in, okay? Number 2, and I do this myself, if this is your first time on my channel when it comes to my hair care, when it comes to my natural hair videos, welcome. I do this myself. Number 2 is especially if you're going to be doing your braids, your Havana twists, your crochet braids with extensions, please make sure that your perimeter, which I call them your perimeter braids, which is anything from like right here to right here, your edges basically. Please make sure that if you are installing them yourself or if you are going to a shop, please make sure, or at least ask them to make your perimeter braids a little bit bigger than the braids that come from like right here to right here. And the reason why I'm saying that is because the edges is the most sensitive part of your hair, and the tension from the tension and the weight from that extra hair is going to begin to pull your hair out. So I myself do not use extensions. Again, if you're new to my channel, I do my mini twist every 2 weeks. So I would say probably from like right here to right here. Those twists are a little bit bigger than the ones in the middle of my head. So all from right here and even in the back, they are a little bit bigger. They don't have to be bigger to where you notice them, but make sure that, again, if you're installing them or if someone in your shop, or if you're at a shop and someone is installing them, make sure that they are a little bit bigger just to help ease the tension and the weight of the extensions, okay? Number 3, have a dry shampoo. And the reason for that, and I know, dry shampoo is more of a Caucasian or more of a straight hair thing. But if you're going to have your protective styling, because I know also one of the issues with people taking out protective styles, taking them out so early is because of the cost, okay? When you start getting into actually buying the hair and then having someone install them, I know people are paying upwards of $300 and $400 and $500. So you want to keep it in. But I'm saying dry shampoo. And as a matter of fact, so when I was going to the gym faithfully, I was still wearing my mini twist, and I was looking for a product to help combat the buildup on my scalp. One of the first things that you will hear someone talk about when it comes to healthy hair 101, or when they start talking about reasons why your hair is not thriving or growing, or is your scalp. Your scalp still needs to be cleansed. And that still goes back to my first point. You have to maintain your hair. Okay. So this is called Sunday to Sunday. It is a Black owned brand, and it is the micellar rinse infused with apple cider vinegar. I used to squirt this on my scalp every single time I left the gym. I would come home, take a shower, and then I would spray this on my scalp. I don't do it so much more because my scalp is not sweating. But when I go back to the gym, start going back to the gym religiously, I will be using this. Number one, it smells amazing. And the minute you spray this on your scalp, it's like a sense of relief. There is no itchiness. There is no dryness. Okay. So make sure, and this is a liquid. This is not a dry shampoo. This is a liquid. So make sure that when you have your protective styling, make sure that you are maintaining your scalp, whether that be a rinse, whether that be a dry shampoo, whether it be even like a very light oil, like jojoba oil. That's a very good oil that you can use. It's very light, and you will not have product buildup. Okay. Number 4, make sure that you are not actually allergic to the extensions. I know for a lot of people, sometimes when it comes to the synthetic hair, they do find that they like break out in hives, or like the back of their neck becomes very itchy. And the reason for that is synthetic hair, depending on where it's coming from, typically if it's from China or overseas, it has so many compounds and so many chemicals and so many preservatives on it to actually get it to its destination. That's not going to be washed off. So what I would suggest to you is, like I said, number 1, make sure that you are not actually allergic to the synthetic hair or even the human hair. You know, people have different thresholds. And the reason why I'm saying that, not only for your neck, but for your scalp as well. You can actually break out on your scalp. Another tip of what you can do, either you can do it or your hairstylist can do it, rinse, not with water, but 2 parts water, 1 part apple cider vinegar. Rinse the hair before you put it in your scalp, okay? Number 5, and again, this goes with maintenance. And this is really a tip for any natural woman, or really any woman of color. Make sure that you are wrapping your hair at night. If you have seen any of my other videos when it comes to maintaining your hair, how to grow your hair, how to retain your length, I know it's not sexy, I know it's not cute, but at night you need to be wrapping your hair. I don't care if your protective style is with your hair only, or you also have extensions in. It doesn't matter. Like I said before, your hair is still exposed, not as much, but it's still exposed to the elements. Again, make sure that you are wrapping your hair at night. I don't care if it's silk. I don't care if it's one of those satin bonnets from the beauty supply store. Make sure that you are wrapping your hair up at night, okay? I don't know how many times I have to say this, but the friction from that cotton pillow and your hair not only will dry it out, but it will eventually damage and destroy your hair, okay? Number 6 is going to be the LCO or the LOC method. And that again goes back to maintaining. You cannot just leave your hair in these protective styles and do absolutely nothing with them. If your hair was in like a bun, or if you were just using like your regular hair without extensions, you have a regimen, right? Most women, or most natural women who I find are successful when it comes to the length retention of their hair, they have some type of regimen, whether it's moisturizing their hair Tuesday, Thursday, or whether they feel like they need it Monday, Wednesday, Friday. They have some type of regimen. I encourage you to follow that same regimen when you have extensions in, or when you have a protective style in. Now, when you have a protective style in with extensions, that regimen might have to be tweaked a little bit. but I want you to take that same regimen and use those components when you have in a protective style, especially the wrapping your hair at night and the re-adding moisture to your hair, okay? Number 7, do add oil or use some type of oil when it comes to your protective styling. Just like I mentioned before, I was getting ready to say jojoba, it's a running joke. Jojoba oil, olive oil, avocado oil, those are very light oils that you can either put down the shaft of your hair to kind of lay the cuticle down and maybe to contain some of the frizzies, or put it on your scalp, okay? Maintenance. Like I said, if you don't take anything else away from this video, please maintain your hair while it is in the protective style, okay? Number 8 is going to be to deep condition prior to installing the protective hairstyle. So deep condition prior to going to the hair salon to have your protective style installed. I try to deep condition at least once a month, okay? And that is always going to be prior to me doing my protective style. Or if I know that I'm probably going to leave my protective style in for a little bit longer, I make sure that I'm going to do it right before that particular installment, okay? Please, again, make sure that you are maintaining your hair while it is in the protective style. If you deep condition your hair prior to the protective style, it will help you retain even more of the moisture, okay? Number 9, and this is Natural Hair 101, and this was actually part of my horror story, my setback back in 2014. When you are taking your protective style out, I don't care if you have extensions, I don't care if you are using your own hair. Please make sure that you are using some type of slip, oil, moisturizer, whatever, when you are taking your protective styling out. Reason being is, like I've said before, I keep my protective style in for 2 weeks. There's going to be some shedding. There might be some matting. The hair has been together for quite some time, okay? You need to use some slip to take it out to avoid breakage and to actually make the process a little bit easier, okay? Typically, when I take out my twist, I use avocado oil. Number 10, lastly, have fun with it. Do some experiments. I know a lot of times when it comes to my protective styling, I like to use barrettes, and I like to use like the little, and I'll put pictures up right here. I like to use barrettes. I like to use pins. I like to use hair combs. I also like to use like cowrie shells and like different like dangling pieces. Just make sure that when you are doing them, make sure you're putting them in very carefully and make sure that you're taking them out, okay? Have fun with it. Protective styles give the creativity, or what's the word I'm looking for? Protective styling, especially if it's like a loose protective style, like twists, Havana twists, braids, Marley twists. It gives you freedom, because whenever my hair is in twist, I treat that as if it was my regular hair, and I just style it like that. I do a twist up, I do a bun, I do a top knot, I do a low bun. I might do pigtails, I might do 2 buns. It just gives you so much free reign, okay? Have fun with it. You can even, like when you're talking about extensions, you can even do different colors. Blue, purple, red, yellow. You can do blonde. You can do like a very beautiful brown. Have fun with it. Experiment. But what am I getting ready to say? Make sure that you are still maintaining your hair under your protective style. Okay, now let's move on to the don'ts. And I have 9 for you. So I have 9 don'ts, and then I have 2 tips for you to consider for protective styling as a whole. So number 1, which is actually going to coincide with the first do. Do not. And I know this is another topic of conversation within itself, because again, Black women spend ridiculous amounts on their hair, which I have no problem with because I do as well. I have no problems paying $50 for a hair mask if it's going to work. Do not leave your protective style in for a ridiculous amount of time. As you have heard me state in this video and prior videos before, I leave my twist in for 2 weeks. That's it. If I'm lazy, if I miss a wash day, 3 weeks at the most. I have never left my twist in for 4 weeks or more. You just simply don't do that, okay? Again, like I just said, I understand that there are people out here paying upwards of $300, $500 for these protective styles, but in the long run, leaving the protective style in for 2, 3, I've even heard people go 4 and 6 months. It's not going to be good when you try to take it out. And like I said before, I feel like that a lot of times, as far as leaving the protective style in for a very long time and not maintaining your hair under the protective style is what gives protective styling a bad rep, okay? You cannot do that. There are so many things that can happen to your hair: breakage, dryness, buildup. And as a matter of fact, I believe this was a couple of months ago, I had gotten to like the 2.5 mark of my twist. And I was like, okay, let me just go ahead and take them out. I have some time. Let me take them out. I was using my avocado oil to make sure I had some slip to take them out. And I actually found like the back 2 rows of my hair had actually started to not mat, but they actually started to lock. So please, 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 please make sure that you are not leaving in your protective styling very long, okay? Now, for some people, 2 weeks might be a very short time, but that is what I am comfortable with, okay? So for braids, most of the research that I was doing and most of the experts were saying 6 to 8 weeks. 8 weeks is right at that 2-month mark. They should be coming out, okay? Mini twist for me is 2 weeks. The utmost I'm going to say is 4. Okay. Crochet braids is 4 to 6 weeks. I would probably say at the point of 2 weeks, just because of how it's installed and with how it's installed and how it's actually entwined into your hair, I would not go past 2 months. Okay. I wouldn't. And, lastly, weave, from everything that I have read, it also said 6 to 8 weeks. I know some people who get it every 2 weeks, every 4 weeks. There are some people who leave it in for months. Okay. I know y'all have all seen the videos on YouTube with the extreme for like 6 months, 8 months, and a year. The average person is not going to do that just simply because they know that their hair under there is going to be destroyed. But when it comes to a weave, it should not be any longer than 2 months as well. Okay. All right. The next one is going to be no tight hairstyles. And, you know, we have this saying, what is it? No pain, no gain, or beauty is pain, or whatever it is. Let me say these 2 things. Number 1, if you have to take ibuprofen, Advil, Tylenol prior to your hair install or prior to your protective hair install, and then you have to take ibuprofen afterwards, your hairstyle is too tight. Okay? If you are leaving the hair salon with slightly slanted eyes than you left with, I'm trying to be PC here, the hairstyle is too tight. Okay? This actually goes back to one of my tips for do. Make sure that your perimeter braids or twists are slightly larger than the ones in the back and in the middle, okay? Your hair is too tight if you have to deal with going home and you wake up and the room is spinning. It's too tight. If you can see like the little beads or the little bumps forming like right here, again, on your perimeter or within your parts, the hairstyle is too tight. Say something to the hairdresser. Speak up, okay? It is your hair. It is your money. Speak up, okay? The next one, which kind of goes with the last one that I just said, do not sleep in that tight hairstyle. Reason being, again, the friction. But again, your perimeter. If your hair is braided so tightly and you're, moving on your pillow, there is a potential for not just the back part or for the top part to snap, but there is a potential for the actual perimeter braid to completely snap off, okay? I have seen someone that tight. I forget, it was on TikTok, it was either Instagram or YouTube, but their hair was braided so tight that when they went to sleep at night and then they got up and they looked in the mirror, from the front portion, from their perimeter, it was actually lifting up. their hair had popped off and it was basically hanging on by a thread because the perimeter of their hair or their edges had popped off. That's how tight the protective style was. That is way too tight, okay? Make sure that when you are at the hairdresser, you are comfortable with how tight the braids are, okay? Number 4, don't let the extensions dry your hair out. And again, I'm getting ready to bring this back to my very first do. Make sure that you are maintaining your hair under the protective style. If I cannot press upon that enough, like I said, you can shut this video off right now. I want you to take away the fact that you have to maintain your hair while it is still in the protective style, okay? Add water, add moisture, add oil. Whatever it is you feel like is going to help retain the moisture in your hair, okay? Number 5, and this is going to be for my ladies who are using extensions when it comes to the protective styling. Do not go from protective style to protective style to protective style, okay? Your hair needs a break, and I'm finding that with my hair as well, even though I am not using extensions. So what I'm probably going to start doing is 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. And what I mean by that is 2 weeks in mini twists and 2 weeks off. So right now you can see that my hair is wrapped and it is actually a wash week. So it is Tuesday. This video will go up on Wednesday. I will wash my hair on Saturday. So I will have officially, so it is a week and 2 days as far as my hair being in jumbo twist and then just keeping it wrapped up. So I'm probably going to start doing that. But for my ladies who are using extensions, the reason why I'm saying that is the tension, okay? When you start adding in extensions, your hair can tend to get very, very heavy. And with the way braid trends are going right now, I mean, I've seen some braids that are all the way down to someone's knees, all the way down to the floor. I cannot imagine how heavy that is. Not only that, I can't even imagine the stress and the tension that is on your hair, okay? So just make sure that you're giving yourself a little bit of a break in between the protective styles and really any protective style. So say, for instance, you just have braids in, or say, for instance, you're a bun girl. That's fine. Do that for 2 weeks, moisturize it, leave it alone, however you maintain it. The 2 weeks after that, do something different or do more so of a looser style, or just wrap it up. Like if you work from home or if you know that you're going to be in the house, put like 6 twists in, 10 twists, moisturize it, and just keep it wrapped up. I mean, if you're not going anywhere, there's really no need for you to be messing in your hair, okay? Like I said before, like my takeaway video from 2021, I find that my hair thrives when I leave it alone. Okay. And this one I have mentioned before when it comes to just taking care of your hair and growing your hair out. And I don't think a lot of people realize this, but I started realizing this when I actually had to sit down and figure out how to do my own hair. And this is not just for protective styling. This is just in general, even if you are just reapplying moisture to your hair. Do not install a protective style when you are mad, upset, frustrated. You're going to, and I know it's a subconscious thing, but you're going to take it out on your hair because that is what you are doing. You might be thinking about something in the background, but if you're stressed out, if you're mad about something, you're going to take it out on your hair. And I have noticed that before. Like when I'm mad, I'm actually quite rough with my hair. Okay. Number 7, and I don't know if this is a new trend. I don't know if this is being lazy, or I don't know if this is just, I don't know. But before you install the protective style, because again, we're talking about anywhere from 2 weeks to 4 weeks, 2 weeks to 8 weeks, make sure you're washing your hair. And I don't know if this is a new trend or if I'm just late, but some people are installing protective styles on like 2-week-old hair, week-old hair, and there's nothing wrong with that. But just make sure that your scalp and your hair is clean, okay? Do not install a protective hairstyle on 4-week-old hair that has not been washed, that you have not been maintaining, okay? That one is pretty simple, but I feel like I keep seeing more and more of that. But just make sure that your hair is clean before you install a protective style, okay? Number 8 is kind of counterproductive, but it's not, which is don't put a lot of products on your scalp. When your hair is in a protective style, you're probably going to use a little bit of a heavy butter or a little bit of a heavier cream. Don't take that same idea to your scalp, okay? And the reason being is because you want to make sure that your scalp is clean and not product buildup. So when you have like your braids, your Havana twist and your Marley twist, the way that they install that, there is a tendency, especially if you're adding a lot of products to your scalp, there is a tendency like where the knot is. I know they do have knotless now, but like if you're just going the traditional knot, there's a tendency for the product buildup to actually get into that knot and then just kind of sit there, and then it just builds up and builds up and builds up. And that's where a lot of like your tangles and where your matting is going to come from, okay? So just make sure that scalp wise, you're using a very light serum, oil, or what have you. Okay. Number 9, and I have said this before, especially when it comes to maintaining your hair, and again, just healthy hair 101. Stop following all of these trends that you are seeing pop up on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. I will give you an outrageous example. This was years ago. I saw a video about massive hair growth, and they were using whale sperm. Okay. While that's probably one of the nastiest things that I have ever heard, I mean, I have so many questions as to how this even came about and like where the whale sperm came from. Like, was there a person who just woke up and was like, I got it. Whale sperm. It's going to make my hair grow. So they like go to the ocean and they just start like searching for, it's just so many questions that come to mind. But what I mean by that is stop following hair trends. Okay. You know, with social media, people have the ability to just shovel out all different types of content, all different types of ideas. And I have followed hair trends, or I have picked up on hair trends myself before, whether it be a hairstyle, whether it be a product. And I have been very pissed at myself when I found out that didn't actually work, or that's probably a crazy thing that I should not have done. But what I mean by that, and I will give you an example because I did a little bit of research and I've heard 50-50. I'm saying this because several years ago, and typically when it comes to fashion or when it comes to hair, you have reoccurring trends. And a few years ago, I will say this is probably anywhere from like 2017 to 2019. It was like this huge thing for yarn braids. There are different types of yarn, but the average yarn that you just run to get from like Target, Michael's, or Walmart is made of wool, okay? You are going to dry your hair out so bad that it is going to break, it is going to be frizzy, and the whole point of the protective style has now become counterproductive, okay? Stop following things that you see celebrities doing, that you see your hair gurus doing. Do your research, look at pictures. Just make sure that when you're doing these protective styles, that it's not going to be counterproductive to what you are trying to do. Okay. So now I just want to get into 2 tips because these are things to consider. This is probably one of the reasons why I myself have not actually added extensions when it comes to my protective styling. And then really, to be honest, I just don't need it. That's not bragging. That's just me knowing that my hair is or realizing that my hair is long enough to have the protective style without the extensions. Okay. So the first thing that I want you to consider is shedding. As you have heard me say before, most protective styles, you're talking anywhere from 2 weeks to 8 weeks. Okay. I myself leave in my mini twist every 2 weeks. If you are not familiar, shedding. The average person sheds anywhere from 50 to 100 hairs a day. So for myself, let's just go ahead and go to the extreme at 100 hairs a day. Okay. So if I'm shedding 100 hairs a day and I leave my twist in for 14 days, that is 14 strands of hair that are going to be caught within my mini twist. Okay. So a couple of things. This can sometimes lead to a not a shedding nightmare, but a detangling nightmare. I know a lot of people talk about shedding versus breakage when it comes to protective styling. So let me really quickly explain to you shedding. Shedding is the 5 to 100 hairs a day. When you pull your hair out and you see, and it's a long piece of hair, and you see that white bulb attached to it, that is shedding. If you are seeing like little short pieces, that is breakage and that is from damage. Okay, so I'm bringing that up because within that shedding and with you taking down your protective style, remember again, using some slip so the detangling process and the taking out process can be a little bit easier. You might lose some healthy strands, okay? But that again is the reason why you do not leave in protective styles for long amounts of time. Okay? Now, number 2 is going to be adding extensions can actually produce excess friction. And what I mean by that, whether it's synthetic or whether it's human hair, if you don't know, your hair has layers or it has cuticles, which means kind of think of it as like a fish. It has scales. So when you have something that is not your own, whether it's synthetic or whether it's human hair, when you have something that's continuously being rubbed up against your own hair, it's going to cause friction and it's going to raise the cuticle of your hair. But again, that is something to think about. But again, that is why it is very, very, very important to what? To maintain your hair under the protective styling. Okay? So those are all the tips that I have for you. Let me know in the comments if I missed anything. Let me know if you have any questions. Again, I guess I should have put this disclaimer in the beginning of the video. These are my tips. These are my research. These are things that I have found that have worked for me and from other women that I have spoken to. You don't have to agree. You can think that protective styling has damaged your hair, and you might be correct. But at the same time, I want you to think about how you were maintaining your hair under the protective styling, okay? Because if you know me, if you have been a part of my community for a while, then you will know I single-handedly believe that not only has my hair been able to grow with protective styling, but I have been able to retain my length, okay? That is aside from me not trimming my ends, okay? That's a completely different story, which I'm now trying to correct in 2022. But for me, protective styling does work. But again, if you're going to take anything else away from this video, please, 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 please remember you have to maintain your hair under or within the protective style, okay? I just want to remind you that here on YouTube, I do upload videos every Wednesday and Sunday. And then, of course, you know, right here, I'll put my Instagram handle. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, you guys. Bye.